suspense that will clutch you like quicksand.
Johnny, fancy dress parties. Can you just wear anything to these bloody things these days? Fancy dress parties, Johnny. Well, I've never been a big fan of them. You are, though. Oh, yeah, I love them. Yeah, very memorable. But there's one person or a group of people in particular that it seems very bad manners to get dressed up as. Yeah? Who's that? Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler? Or the Nazis. It seems there's a Premier of New South Wales. Yes, would you care to elaborate on that, Johnny? And for all the millions of overseas viewers, a Premier is a bit like a governor in the US, a governor of a state. Yeah, there's a Premier, and someone's dug up a bloody photo of him 20 years ago getting dressed up for a fancy dress party as a Nazi. Holy shit!
Right, well, the New South Wales Premier is in damage control this morning, admitting he wore a Nazi costume to his 21st birthday party 20 years ago.
Well, we all do stupid things in our youth, Johnny, surely. we did enough of them.
New South Wales Premier Dominic Perrottet's leadership is in turmoil after revelations yesterday he dressed in a Nazi costume for his 21st birthday.
In fact, we're still doing fucking stupid things now, I reckon. I mean, it was 20 years ago. He was a lot younger and things were different back then. And dragging this sort of shit up just before an election, mind you, seems to be a little bit childish in the way that people go looking. Right. People go looking for things against their rivals and they find a picture of him dressed as a Nazi and put it out. Right. Put it out and say, look, he's a terrible person. He dressed as a Nazi back then. I see, yes. That seems bloody, that's bloody childish. Right, yeah. And Prince Harry in his latest book, among a lot of other crappy bits of information, he delves into why he was wearing his Nazi uniform back then in the day, I mean.
The fallout over Prince Harry's Nazi costume now has 25 European countries considering a total ban on all Nazi symbols. The scandal erupted last week over photos of Prince Harry, third in line to the British throne, wearing a Nazi outfit at a costume party.
Frank, the famous incident which Harry himself calls the biggest mistake of his life when he dressed as a Nazi to a fancy dress party, he's now claiming that Kate and William told him to wear this outfit. Will this guy ever take responsibility for anything he's ever done?
Yes. But Harry's very bloody heartfelt about it. He's sorry he did such a thing. Never mind that he killed 25 people in the war. He's very sorry about wearing his Nazi uniform to a party. And on the bloody uniforms, Johnny, I don't know who come up with the bloody things, but by Jesus, they were stylish. I think they were the most stylish bloody dictators, fucking murderous bastards in history. Come on, Johnny. Oh, fucking hell. In a sort of horrific way, I mean.
The power of a uniform lies in its silence. So I made a video a few months back ranking the world's best looking uniforms. Now, of course, my beloved Marine Corps ended up on top, but I couldn't help but notice in the comments a number of people brought up, what about the SS uniforms? What about Nazi uniforms? Now, as a bit of a World War II history buff and a guy here on YouTube that talks about men's style, I thought, who better to answer the question? Why were the Nazis so stylish? Seriously, the SS uniforms haven't been worn for coming in on 80 years, yet people still talk about them as the most stylish.
Oh, Jesus, you have to admit they were bloody smart looking. I'd like to know if there was any bloody people who were offended by people getting dressed up as Adolf Hitler for a fancy dress party, if they were offended by watching Hogan's Heroes. I mean, they had Nazis running around all over the place. Hogan's Heroes, what a great bloody show. Clink was bloody fantastic in that, but I think in that show it was obvious they were a bunch of bloody buffoons running around like they owned the joint, and Hogan and his boys, they continually made fun of him. And should we be not highlighting the Nazi regime at all, Johnny, maybe? Not even put them in films?
Good evening. It was an admission no one saw coming. Dominic Perrottet's revelation that he wore a Nazi uniform to his 21st birthday costume party. The Premier has apologised, describing his actions as a grave and naive mistake.
A deeply religious Premier with a shock confession.
When I was 21, at my 21st fancy dress party, I wore a Nazi uniform.
Yeah, it is. It is a long time ago. Yeah, it is 20 years ago. Does anyone really give a shit?
Joining us live now is Rabbi Benjamin Elton from the Great Synagogue in Sydney. Rabbi Benjamin Elton, thank you for your time. Firstly, can I get your reaction to the Premier's admission?
I was very shocked that he did this as a young man.
Well, I suppose there's people out there who do give a shit. And where do you draw the line? Do we Attila the Hun? Can you get dressed up as Attila? I don't think Attila was a particularly nice person. He murdered a couple of thousand people on horseback and all that sort of stuff. Genghis Khan. You could go as Genghis Khan, I suppose. No one would be offended. Adolf Hitler is a prime bloody subject of making fun of. Have a look at the bloke. Johnny, you have to admit though, Adolf had a very distinctive style and look going on. Shouldn't we be ridiculing him? Well, perhaps we bring in a rule, Johnny, that you can dress up like bloody Adolf Hitler or a Nazi, but you've got to act like a complete fucking idiot. Perhaps there should be maybe a contract you got to sign before you get dressed up that you'll behave in an imbecilic way and continually make fun of the Nazi character. That's one way you could get around it. A bit of bloody paperwork, I know, but it's one way we could ensure that the Nazis were mocked rather than sort of idolised. So what point are you making about this bloody discussion, Johnny? If you're going to go back and look at everything people did 20 years ago, by Jesus, I don't think you'd be able to employ anybody.